Motlotlegi Tautona ne ke re ke tse tšhono ke go dumedise re dumedisa le matona a leng ka kwano mo letsatsi la gompieno le batlotlegi botlhe ba kgotlateo molao ya bosetšhaba. Honorable members, the Bureau for Economic Research has developed a scenario for GDP in South Africa, and they call it the African fish scenario. In that scenario, the Bureau for Economic Research projects that South Africa's economy by 2030 it will hover around 2% growth. Our National Treasury does the same projection to say that by 2030, our GDP will be hovering around 2%. The World Bank makes the same assertion that around 2030, South Africa's economy, in terms of growth, it will be hovering around 2.3%. Now, I'm giving you these figures, honorable members, because when we talk about the challenges of geopolitics and how those challenges impact on South Africa's economy, we must be scientific in approach. We can come here and hurl insults at each other and so on, but we must bear in mind that if we do not adopt a scientific approach to the challenges that we face, we are not going to be able to provide alternatives to what the Bureau of Economic Research is telling us. President, you set a target in the investment summit that in the next 5 years, we must be at 3 trillion rand. Now, let's understand, honorable members, the Bureau for Economic Research, World Bank, and other institutions that deals with matters of the economy, when they do so, they look at all other variables, and some of those variables will include, for instance, what the president from time to time will say. So, the South African Investment Summit has achieved its strategic objective of over 2.8 trillion rand. So when they look at South Africa, these institutions of authority on economy, they will look at that progress that we are making because they are adopting scientific approach to problems of the economy. However, honorable members, we must also understand that we are pursuing the objective of building a better Africa and a better world under conditions that we do not control. I will make an example. As we sit here, supply chains of the world are constrained because of the onslaught that is executed on Iran by Israel and the United States of America. As a consequence of that, the Strait of Hormuz find it difficult for transportation of goods and services to go through as a consequence of what is happening imposed on Iran by the US and Israel. So it's important, honorable members, that when we speak economics here, and we speak about the price of petrol, the price of goods and services, we talk about the prices of what our people are consuming. We must bear in mind that what is impacted upon the prices here in South Africa and the rest of the world is exogenous factors in the economy, because we don't have control over those exogenous factors. It is therefore very important for us to bear in mind that if you are a leader at the level of the president, you don't only consider what honorable members are saying here. You consider factors as a whole, including these exogenous factors that I'm talking about. The exogenous factors include the fact that we are in the world where midnight there might be trumpets which are imposing through Twitter, rattles around the world. And we have to respond to those particular situations. There is an honorable member who came here and make a point that we are doing nothing about illicit sale of cigarettes. Now, we have a challenge in the House here, honorable members, of a syndrome which I refer to as systematic memory lapse. Now, if you don't have systematic memory lapse, you will remember that on this platform here, Honorable Minister of Finance, Honorable Godongwan, indicated that we are losing around 70% of tax revenue as a consequence of illicit cigarettes. So we must not speak about it here as if it has never been referred to. Honorable Mekalaikis, you come here and say, sorry if I did not pronounce your surname properly. You come here and say there is a lack of political will in South Africa. And I want to say to you, Honorable Mekalaikis, President Ramaphosa announced the deployment of 2,200 soldiers to deal with matters of criminality here in the country. And you were in the House on that particular day. That's why I'm saying you might be encountering problems of memory lapse from time to time, because these facts were presented here in the House. One of the members also came here and attacked the ANC and says the ANC was absent during the Freedom Charter in 1955. Just in summary, the build-up towards 1955 Freedom Charter, one of the leaders of the ANC who went around the country to mobilize people, and there were over 50,000 people mobilized as a build-up, was the Black Pimpernel Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela came from the African National Congress Youth League, Honorable Paulson. We must also remind you that here in Cape Town, as a part of build-up to the Freedom Charter, a leader of the ANC, ZK Matthews, was one of the leaders who led the processes that resulted in the culmination of the Freedom Charter. Now, I'm going to urge honorable members who are confusing what is objective, what is subjective in as far as South Africa's economy is concerned, because I don't have time. Please look at what China has done based on Deng Xiaoping's philosophy of opening up the market of China, therefore fusing in the variables of China's economy matters of marketism. So the Chinese have mastered the art of dealing with these matters of marketism. Honorable Reddy, when you go to a meeting for the first time as a Committee of Parliament, one of the first things that you do there is not to study a report. What you do in the first meeting of Parliament, like the committee did yesterday, of impeachment, is to appoint a chairperson.
Honorable Mahumapelo.
Subsequent to the appointment of the
Honorable
chairperson.
member, just take your seat for a moment. Honorable Reddy, why do you want to be recognized?
Thank you, House Chair. Is the honourable member prepared to take a question?
I will inquire from him. You can stand down. Honorable member, are you prepared to take a question?
Yes, as soon as I'm done, Chair.
Okay. Please proceed.
When you arrive in a committee like you did yesterday, you elect a chairperson and the chairperson has been elected. It is only after the chairperson has been elected that the report will then come to that particular committee. But in addition, it's a memory lapse problem again. The speaker through the ATC circulated the report of Section 89 on the 11th of May to all of us here. We've got that report. So don't go to a committee and ask for a report that is in your gadget. There is also a member who came here and wants us, honorable members, to adopt what I call microwave diplomacy. Now, microwave diplomacy is when you seek simple solutions to complex problems. So they want South Africa to cut corners by adopting this microwave diplomacy. Now, we are not going to adopt microwave diplomacy because we as the African National Congress, we are a disciplined force of the left, which means as a disciplined force of the left, we will not seek to provide simple solutions to complex problems that are facing society. We will, for instance, at all material times, continue to call for the resolution of conflicts all over the world through engagement by discussing. We will continue to call for engagement so that we can resolve conflicts that are facing the world. Honorable Bergman, I'm going to refer you to a book written by Johan Keynes, another one by Abalena. If you read those two books, they will tell you that a role of a state in building an economy is very critical. You come here and say the role of the state must be reduced in South Africa, and in the process of that, you confuse yourself. You say electricity is expensive, but at the same time you are saying the government must do something to resolve that, but at the same time you are saying the state must not play a role in making sure that you deal with them. So that's Confucianism, which is raging in your head. And you must liberate yourself from that confusion because it is self-inflicted. In the end, honorable members, we are calling for the African continent to unite, for SADC to come together, President, to address the challenges that we are facing with our fellow brothers and sisters who are here in South Africa, either illegally or legally. The only way is to talk as SADC and resolve the problem jointly. Ke a leboha.